Tuesday, May 4th marked the worldwide celebration of all good things Star Wars.
No, not you, Seamus.
Ah, poo.
And the launch of a new season of Apex Legends, which included an awesome new legend and a brand new 3v3 elimination mode. So muted, how does Arenas feel? It feels pretty good. If you want to catch me outside of YouTube, I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. In the future, streams and videos will be happening more frequently as I transition this channel to impressions and game reviews like Alien Isolation, which I have been absolutely loving it! Jesus Christ. Oh my god! If you already know about the mode and you are just interested in my thoughts on the new season, go to this timestamp here. For now, let's talk about Apex Legends Arenas. Apex Legends has now joined the club of round-based arena shooters, where in between rounds you can purchase weapons, weapon upgrades, abilities, throwables, shields, heals, and ults. You start with a set amount of cash, which does carry from round to round, so don't feel the need to blow it all at once, unless you want to. Coming into this, I had zero experience with CSGO and Valorant, so you won't really find any comparisons to how this mode works in reference to either of those games in this video. That style of shooter has never really done it for me. You know, that slow walking, peeking around corners. Apex is not that, which is why this mode interested me so much initially. One thing I was afraid of was if you lost a couple of rounds in a row, you would feel extra beat down by the lack of fun recuperation, but that definitely isn't the case here. Part of that is because of the large suite of weapons that Apex provides, and the cash canisters that are out on the map while the round is active. These were a really good idea, and with their current locations you can have one member of your team run to the canister, grab some cash to help in the next round, and scoop up some shields and a nearby capsule to help in the current round. At least initially, the buying system feels pretty good. There are certain abilities like Bloodhound Scan that could probably cost a little bit more, but balance changes like that will probably come later. Paying for your abilities was something that initially caught me off guard, but it's something that I think works really well. You don't see teams paying for ults very often, at least until the later rounds, just because you have to factor that in with everything else you're trying to buy in between rounds. Is that ult really worth a couple of shield bats, or upgrading your R9 one more step? Legends like Horizon and Revenant almost feel nerfed by this design choice, which is honestly kinda nice after last season. It's nice that this is a straight up 3v3 arena mode instead of just an ability spam simulator. Now I could see where it could turn into that in the later rounds of a match, but by that time both teams will be able to counter each other. Speaking of spam, the purple backpacks that you load in with make insane grenade spam possible, so I could see that changing in the future as well. One question I had was centered around if they would balance the normal Battle Royale mode and arenas differently. When asked by TheGamer.com, senior game designer Daniel Klein said, quote, "I hope not. There are small differences right now. Lifeline's ultimate and Valkyrie's ultimate are different, but that's just to accommodate the needs of the mode, rather than balance. I hope we never have to be in a position where we have to change an ability between arenas and Battle Royale for balance. That would be really awkward. One of the goals of arenas is that you can use it as practice, right? You go in, you get lots of practice with your abilities, weapons, and so on. And if we then say, hey, you're practicing one balance state, but then you go into Battle Royale and it's different, then we failed on that goal." End quote. What Daniel Klein says here about practice,
We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
has reminded me that through playing arenas, I have become unironically good with the Mozambique, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's another cool thing about arenas. Just the hands-on time that you have with these weapons and these abilities that maybe you wouldn't even have access to in even a few rounds of trios or duos. So what motivates players from just sitting in the back of the map with snipers? Well, there's a zone just like there is in the normal BR, and it works the same way. It shows up in the very beginning of the match and slowly shrinks the map. It forces movement to certain parts of the map and does a decent job of pushing players around. I'll discuss this a little bit more later on in the video. If you're curious about the dev decisions concerning arenas, I've linked that article in the description, and I highly recommend giving it a read. So what else came with the new season? A pretty insane bow, and a new legend, Valkyrie. The bow is nuts. I've never played Crisis, Man, I really need to play games that are not Destiny. But Crisis is what I think of when I think of bows in video games. Hanzo's bow in Overwatch felt alright, and Destiny's bows that they introduced in the Forsaken expansion still feel really good, minus a good chunk of them feeling underpowered. The trick with bow balancing in Destiny is that they feel kind of weak, but if they got to where the damage output felt really good, it would probably be too good. Like this bow. On launch, the bow is doing 123 to the head and 70 to the body when the bow is fully drawn, and with Deadeye's tempo, it was absolutely lethal. It was given a slight nerf with the body shot damage coming down to 60 and the rate of fire with Deadeye's tempo being increased by 0.2 seconds. We'll see long term if that is enough. The toughest part of putting a bow in the game is already done. It feels great to use and it definitely has a place in the sandbox, so huge props to Respawn for that. Now on to Valkyrie. Valkyrie's addition to the game reaffirms the direction that Respawn is going with their new Legends, which is up in the air. With the additions of Horizon last season and Valkyrie this season, Respawn is adding even more verticality to a game with a lot of it already. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I think that Valkyrie is a lot of fun to play. Her ult, Skyward Dive, basically acts like a jump tower. It's incredibly handy for just grabbing your teammates and repositioning. Most of my experience with her is in arenas, where her ult really isn't as useful because of the height limit. Her passive, which is her jetpack, is great in terms of feel and what the cost of fuel is when you use it. Her movement feels really good, and her boost reminds me a lot of Titan movement from Destiny. It feels natural. The only thing that doesn't feel good is the eternity that it takes to unholster your weapons when you come out of her tac and her passive. It feels similarly sluggish to Loba's tactical before her most recent change. Valkyrie's tactical, Missile Swarm, feels a little goofy to use because you can't quickly launch your missiles and forget about them. You have to hold down the position where you'd like them to go, which is a little awkward to use at first. A perfect example is this clip.
I'm just getting mowed by that rampart, dude.
However, even if you don't get a good barrage off, if you get one hit on an enemy, it stuns them. So as soon as you land and finally unfurl your weapons, you can quickly, well, you can follow up. So what are my thoughts? The servers were unsurprisingly a little rough on day one. Jeez, the ping is not very good in this match.
Nope.
I'm at like freaking 300 ping.
Same.
Holy shit. But overall, my first impressions of the season and everything added to it are very good. I've always loved the way that Apex feels to play. It's the only game that feels similar to Destiny in terms of gunplay, abilities, and movement fluidity. It's like a beautiful song when it all comes together.
It's not letting me drop it for some reason. There we go.
I'm stuck in here.
Oh no.
This is what has kept me coming back to Apex season after season, despite the fact that I'm not really a big Battle Royale fan. I've never played Fortnite, and even though Warzone is made for some funny moments on stream,
These guys are gonna be all over my ass as soon as I put out this
Car
smoke.
coming, car coming.
Yep. Get him. Light him up. Chase him off.
did you get run over? The high ping, the cheaters, and how cumbersome your character feels have all been things keeping me away. I had been racking my brain trying to figure out what Respawn's next step should be to keep this game alive, because without innovation, a straight-up Battle Royale will lose its life and its player base over time. Arenas was such a great choice to add more life to this game. I've described Arenas to my friends as a crisp 3v3 with all of the good parts of Apex, and without any of the nonsense that comes with a Battle Royale. Getting third party, getting crap loot on the drop, or getting all the way to 3 squads remaining and getting jumped by a package of bronies that have been hiding since they dropped. Don't get me wrong, the BR part of Apex is still a lot of fun, especially now that World's Edge is back. Thank God! But for me, I've loved Apex in spite of the game that it is at its core. I think Arenas has a lot of potential. And for an entirely new mode and new maps, it all feels pretty good. You're going to have teams that are passive, and you're going to have teams that are overly aggressive. That's just the nature of 3v3. I think that Bloodhound and Lifeline are going to be meta for a while. Lifeline's revives and the extra shields that she gives from the capsules are excellent resources. And with Bloodhound, it will never not be useful to know where your enemies are at. With that said, Arenas also brings a lot more legends to the forefront. I've been seeing a lot of Ramparts, Bangalores, Valkyries, and even Crypto has a place in here. And I think that's great. More diversity of legends means you're not playing the same team makeup every single time. I don't really think there's any big changes that need to be made to start with. The bow is probably the biggest outlier right now. The strength of the bow was quickly addressed with that nerf. I'm not sure if it's enough though. One thing that would be nice is if the fired arrows left a trail, because the problem right now is that the bow is still lethal. So if you're trying to peek to see where the shots are coming from, you can't really do that without just getting wrecked. You peek, you die. A little more damage reduction and some arrow trails would be a welcome change. With Valkyrie, I think she's a lot of fun to play, and my only real gripe is weapon accessibility after using her attack and her passive. Which I understand Respawn not wanting you to just yeet into a team, missile barrage them, and stun them, and then quick draw your weapons and just mow people down. I think she'd be in a perfect spot if you could draw your weapons a little more quickly, but other than that, I think she's another great addition to a fun selection of legends. The only thing that I really think needs tuning in arenas is the zone. Zone pushing the fight is an excellent idea, but it needs some adjustment. My friend and resident jabron, Massive Tater.
Dude, someone turn off the fucking barbecue machine.
Tater, was that your grenade?
Yeah. You were getting lit up again.
So you smoked me out of my little outhouse I've got here? Suggested that the spawns rotate around the map instead of flipping them from side to side, and I think that's a terrific idea. This would shift the way that the maps are played and keep them even more fresh, so you're not running into the same 2 fight zones every map. Especially on the World's Edge map when you get some rando that needs to take the portal every single time. The spawn change Tater suggested, in combination with the zones being more random, could help us get use out of the entirety of the maps instead of just the same 2 spots every time. Overall, my first impressions are really strong, and Arenas is incredible. Can I speak? Overall, my first impressions are really strong, and Arenas is incredibly addicting. I love it. I will definitely be trying to make all the time available for grinding Arenas as I possibly can. I hope you all enjoyed this video, because I certainly enjoy the changes in the creation process of, well, creating it. There will be an Alien Isolation review soon, and honestly, I haven't been this excited for the content I'm creating for you guys in a long time. There's some fun stuff ahead for the YouTube channel and for the stream, so I hope you all come along for the ride. If you want to catch me outside of YouTube, I live stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I hope to see you all there. If there are any games you are longing for me to review, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody. Fucking Tater.
Get in the res, shoot him down. Nice. I did my part.
Just hear Tater freaking battle cry. Oh, wow.